Good afternoon, and thanks for clicking on to the Monday edition of Vogan's European Outlook. It does appear that everything is back to normal once again after what became a bit of a disastrous live stream yesterday. I was really quite disappointed actually because I was looking forward to doing the stream from my stepdaughter's house in Inverness, and I had issues with the webcam initially. Then I had issues with the sound, and it just was never going to work. And it's the first time since back in February, I think, when the live streams began proper, and it's the first time it's really went become a disaster. So I've had to do a little bit of work to try and find out what the problem is, what the feedback, what the echo was, but it appears anyway that everything is back to the way it should be. So I do apologise sincerely for yesterday's mishap. No live stream for the first time in what appears to be forever, but it should be business as usual once again. We'll have a live stream this upcoming weekend once again, and all should go back to normal, hopefully. So a very warm welcome to you. If you're enjoying the content here in the channel, just to forget about yesterday, if you're enjoying the content here in the channel, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We are going to be talking about the polar vortex this week, how unusual it is for the weakness that we're seeing at the moment, and what is projected to be a weak polar vortex through the rest of September and into the month of October. Why is that the case? And also what repercussions that may have later down the road with regards to the middle and second half of autumn, and also even winter as well. So we're going to be looking at that. We're going to be looking at big picture things, the Manjulian Oscillation, the tropics as well. That is all going to be part of this week's schedule. So do stick around if you are so interested in that kind of stuff. But anyway, I wanted to play through the one-day temperature anomaly chart here, the evolution of the warmth and then the cold, and then we're going to see a warm-up once again this week. Higher pressure is building overhead the UK, much drier than average, and we are going to see probably warm days and relatively cool nights in this regime. So it should be a very, very pleasant week coming up for at least the UK and Ireland. We will look at the disaster that is unfolding across parts of Poland, Austria, Slovakia, even parts of Romania, Moldova. We've seen epic rainfall, to say the least, and unfortunately this is going to be, and is, should I say, a big deal down in Central and Eastern Europe. But we'll play through this CDAS 0.5 data here, showing the warmer than average beginning to the month of September. I didn't actually realize that you could play through this like this. I'm actually quite pleased to have discovered this. But you can see here the warmer than average few days. Then we had a little bit of cooling taking place around Wednesday the 4th. And then we've seen all this record heat across Central Europe, extending from Norway, Sweden, Finland, down into the heart of the continent. Then we had below average conditions, and this was when we started to see the cut-off low developing, high pressure building across the north. And then with the cut-off low, that wheel, that circulation down to the south of the UK, we've seen heavy rainfall across the south of the British Isles, but also easterly flow, drawn that record heat across parts of Germany, and particularly see a bit of a bullseye here of what would this be above average. This would be kind of 10 to 12 Celsius above average over Central Europe. And then what happened is, with the high to the north, low to the south, we had easterly winds, and that heat then was pulled westwards into the UK and Ireland. We've seen 27, 28 Celsius. Scotland and England, we had the warmest day of the year in parts of Northern Ireland, for example, as well. 27 Celsius was recorded in County Down also. Then we played through those warm days with easterly winds, high pressure, heavy rain along the south coast. Notice here the anomaly below average here across western France and much of Iberia away from the costas due to that cut-off area of low pressure. Then we've seen the change. Higher pressure slipping to the west, opened the floodgates to Arctic air, and this was a notable Arctic air mass coming south here. We had temperatures that went from 10 above average to 10 below average. Look at the heat across Eastern Europe here. This was Thursday of last week. And then the cold continued to drive south and eastwards here. We had some anomalies going from plus 12 to minus 12 compared to the average, especially into the heart of Europe here. This was an incredible change over a 5 to 7 day span across central areas of Europe. And then what came next? We had the collision of air masses. We had area of low pressure developing. We've got a 28 Celsius Mediterranean Sea, and therefore we had 300 to 400 millimeters of rain falling. We had epic snowfall, meters of snow falling in Austria and Switzerland, areas that seen upper 20s, low 30s the week before. What an incredible, extreme month September of 2024 has turned out to be. And you can see here the vast collision between exceptional cold for the time of the year versus very, very hot conditions over Turkey, parts of Greece, up through Bulgaria, Romania, Moldova, Ukraine, up into the Baltic states as well here. But look at how anomalously cold it is across western areas of Europe. And when you've got this major clash in air masses, then the result is extreme weather, unfortunately. And this is the past 72-hour rainfall totals here of Meteoseal. Is a little bit hard to see. In fact, let's actually just bring this up and see if we can pull up this very chart here. So this is rainfall totals over the last 72 hours. And they really have been quite incredible, to say the least here. So this is the last 24 hours. Very little in the way of rain across Western Europe, as you can see here. And really the focus is over the far east of Germany and into the Alps, into the Balkans, into countries of Eastern Europe here. But this is the 72-hour total here showing up. Let's see if we can zoom in. And it just really is quite an incredible sight, to say the least here. So yeah, you get the idea. It's a little bit hard to see on the video, unfortunately. But this is essentially the result. We had one part, I believe this is Austria, if my geography is correct here, but we've got a few areas that were plus 200 millimeters, but we also had just shy of 400 millimeters of rain fallen in the northeast corner. You're talking essentially between, what would that be? You're talking probably in excess of 15 to 20 inches of rainfall in this region over a 3-day span. This is blown September rainfall records out the window completely. But we've seen epic snowfall, obviously on the backside of record heat last week. And this is a tweet here by Nahel, based in Europe somewhere, saying that a weather station in the Czech Republic has recorded over 450 millimeters of rain in the last 96 hours, leading to disastrous flooding. That's half a year's worth of rain in just 4 days. So this really just is mind-blowing stuff. This was the scene here of a bridge in Poland. This is what it should look like under normal circumstances. Look at how high that bridge is off the water in this image. And then you go to this image and the water is actually lapping against the underside of the structure. So that is pretty mind-boggling stuff. Very scary stuff as well, may I add. You're talking, that person saying here, what do you think, 40 to 50 feet up? It must be. So that's one image. This was the snow scenes, by the way, in Austria. I know Austria and Switzerland are used to big snowfall in winter, but this is mid-September, remember. Mid-September. We're talking about meters of snow, and also given how what was seen the week before here. So this is pretty incredible stuff. I did put out one tweet saying that the person that tweeted said that you rarely see this even in the heart of winter, never mind the first meteorological autumn month. So it really is incredible stuff. Very devastating scenes. This is a tweet here by Volcanic. This is one of many towns in and around Poland, by the way, that is seeing these massive floodwaters. And unfortunately, this is what I did envisage when I was putting out the forecast last week, that this was going to be a potential disaster for many countries in Eastern Europe here. This will most definitely go into the history books of European flood disasters, and I know that Europe has a history of flood disasters in the decades gone by, but this will certainly be up there with some of the most historic ones. This is another scene here, incredible scenes in Austria, completely cut off these resorts, these villages in the higher parts of the Alps. So, you've got major flooding. You've also got epic snowfalls. The problem is as well that snow is going to melt as well, given how early it is in the year. And therefore, we are going to see the potential for even worsened flood situation due to the fact that all that snow is holding a tremendous amount of moisture that is going to melt and then run into the river systems as well. So, yeah, it really is a very, very sad situation what we're seeing in Austria, Switzerland. Poland seems to be right in up there with some of the worst as well. And record cold has been another thing, by the way. Incredible stuff. This was a 0.8 Celsius at this one particular location in the Austrian Tyrol, at 962 meters above sea level. This is the lowest maximum temperature. Sorry, I thought that was a minimum. This is the lowest maximum ever recorded in the country in September, below 1,000 meters. The previous record was 2.4 in Lower Austria, 946 meters above sea level, back in 1977. We also had a lot of records from 1986, by the way, in the UK, and we'll look at that in just a second also. But incredible stuff. Look at this here. Look at these scenes coming out of parts of Austria at the moment here. Some really, really remarkable snow scenes. I didn't expect to see quite that much snowfall in these parts of Central Europe here. I put out this tweet here, and I know there was one person that kind of slagged this for saying what I'd said here. Conditions rarely seen in winter. These are not my words. These are actually Alex's words. If we translate the post, it says almost 42 hours of snow in a row, a crazy wind, conditions that are rarely even seen in winter. So not my words. That's his words. Pretty amazing, isn't it, when you think about that? So have I got anything else here? Temperatures here. This is a tweet here by Marco Patagna of the Met Office. Minus 0.3 at Santum Downham in Suffolk. Earliest September frost for East Anglia since mid-September 1986, when the same location dropped to minus 1.1. So, some pretty impressive chill even in parts of the UK over recent days, and obviously that's now wiped out. We knew that we were going to see higher pressure, drier conditions, and warmer temperatures as a result. Remarkable low temperatures in France today. So these are some records that have fallen, some of the lowest since 2001, 1986, 1996, 1984. Temperatures dropping to 5.4 Toulouse in the south of France here. So there you go. Tweet here by Franz Larsen. Over 30 Celsius last Saturday and Sunday. Today, 3:30 p.m. This is Saturday, I think. It was 4 Celsius. We are about 400 meters in a valley, but a wind chill of -9, really strong north to northeasterly wind, and snow level down to about 700 meters. Expecting around 250 meters of rain in the next 4 days. And unfortunately, that has materialized. I hope Franz and his property is safe. For sure. Also here, one part of Slovakia, 87 days above 25 Celsius in a row, longest in the series for Slovakia. So yeah, it has been a really, really wild past few days. Record low maximum temperatures for the first half of September in 5 of 9 federal states. So these are maximum temperatures 7.5 in Salzburg. Temperatures were in the 30s exactly a week before that here. Exceptionally low temperatures also in Italy. Yes, elevation is over 4,500 meters above sea level, but a new September European record. Minus 24.6 in Col Major LeBlanc, Mount Blanc, but I think that's in Italy, that's not the Mount Blanc in France. So pretty amazing stuff. So there you go. Anyway, this is the current satellite imagery showing quite a deep area of low pressure to the southwest of Iceland. We've got some cloud cover in parts of Western Ireland and Northern Ireland here, but generally speaking, we've got a lot of sunshine, and as a result of that, very little in the way of rain. Let's have a look at the current radar. You can see here that we've got a lack of rain. We've got a little bit along the Republic and Northern Ireland border, possibly in the parts of the outer Western Isles as well, but literally no rain to speak about across the majority of the UK at this moment in time. Let's have a look at the current temperatures across Europe. So I'll just get back to here now. You can see here that temperatures have dramatically cooled all the way into the Balkans, and the reason for that, unfortunately, is because of that rain and snow, etc., etc. But we've seen this wiping out of the heat. We still have some heat, if you notice here, up across the Baltic states, also across southern Iberia, where our friend Richard Trott is sunning himself and enjoying himself, and I hope he is enjoying his holiday down there in Spain. I think it's La Pineda he is in at the moment. We've also got some heat across parts of Greece, southern Greece, and into much of Turkey also. Looking at the UK specifically, and we've got some fairly decent temperatures in that sunshine, upper teens to low 20s across the board, the majority anyway. Ireland, Northern Ireland as well, seeing some fairly pleasant days. And we're going to see that warmth continue through the rest of this working week. In MJO, obviously, is going to continue to eventually push eastwards. At the moment, we've got a lot of rising there over the Western Pacific. We've got a lot of sinking over the Americas and over the Atlantic here at the moment. That has been the mainstay for the majority of the past several weeks here. But you notice here, as we play through this loop, eventually, as we move towards the end of September, we will see the MJO change and reposition its upward versus sinking. We then replace the upward motion with sinking over the Pacific, over the Indian Ocean, over Africa, and then we've got quite an enhanced area of convection now rising over the Far East Pacific, Americas, and the Atlantic Basin. And you can see here, when you look at the ECMWF projection here for the MJO, we're in phase 6 at the moment. Once we enter the day 5 to 10, we're into phases 7. The ECM has the MJO rotating into phases 8 and 1 by the time we reach the day 15 through 20. So it's really towards the end of the month we should have a different Mann-Julian oscillation signal. Why am I telling you this? The reason why I'm telling you this is that the NAO is in a negative state. Let's have a look at the Arctic oscillation, in fact, and see what it's showing. So you can see here it's quite firmly negative at the moment here, and I think it's the SOI that's doing that. Let's have a look at the NAO, and you can see here again it's expected to drop quite deeply into negative territory. I think it's that MJO progressing eastwards, and what that may do is later down the road it may start to enhance the block, and as that MJO rotates into more favourable phases, what I think is going to happen is we're going to have that negative NAO-AO pattern as we move towards the latter half of September into the early portions of October, and that may deliver an increased chance of tropical activity over the Atlantic, but also we could see enhanced blocking across high latitudes here, which may promote pushes of cold air into eastern North America and into Western Europe as well. So let's have a look at the latest of the ensemble here, the 500 millibar heights, and you can see that the pattern will shift. Let's have a look and get to the right chart. Look at the 06Z run since the current one is updating. So there's that high over low pressure pattern at the moment here. This is North America, Greenland, and Europe here. We've got quite a strong area of high pressure over the next 5 days developing here. But notice here that as we push towards the latter half of September, with that MJO moving eastwards, you see that the high is building over eastern Canada up into Greenland. We're starting to see the ridge pulling north and northwestwards. So therefore, I would expect towards the early portions of October an increase in potential, at least, for a colder situation developing. South displaced jet, weak jet, a lot of amplification, air running northwards, the warmth, cold descending southwards as well. So this is a pattern, and I had a 32-minute long video last Friday talking about this in quite a bit of detail. So this is something that we'll keep an eye on as we move towards the end of September, but I think more so particularly early to mid-October, there is an opportunity for another shot of Arctic air into the mid-latitude pattern, Eastern North America and Western Europe. We'll keep a close eye on that. Looking at the CFSV2 weeklies, this is week 1. Very powerful ridge of high pressure over Northern Europe, including the UK and Ireland, if you notice here. Also across northern portions of North America. A lot of negatives underneath that is a prime pattern for the tropics. Then into week 2, into week 3 here, you can see here the pattern shifting. So yeah, we will wait and see what happens. So the next week or so is looking like this here. And we'll look at Europe. Week 1, powerful high pressure across the north, lower pressure over the Mediterranean. We're going to see more wet conditions as a result of that. Looking at precipitation anomalies, there would be no surprise to see that we've got firmly drier than average conditions between the 16th and the 23rd of the month here. So very little in the way of rain through the rest of this week, which will be really good news actually. Look at the rain across the Mediterranean basin here. And temperature anomaly wise, we're looking like this here. Warmer than average across the north, cooler than average across the Mediterranean. So, spoken long enough. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you all being well tomorrow with more. Bye for now.